Okay, let's start now.
Hi, my name is Joanne. Distinguished guests, all of analysts, and fellow participants. Welcome to today's forum. We are gathered here to discuss an issue that has attracted growing attention and debate in recent years, particularly within the field of education and youth development. Its name, competitive sports.
Hi, my name is Thungan, and now I'm gonna talk about the definition of competitive sport. So, these are organized physical activities where individuals or teams compete against opponents aiming for victory or improved performance, governed by specific rules and regulations. These activities emphasize winning, high skill levels, and intensive structured training, often fostering discipline, teamwork, and physical fitness. Competitive sports often have specific rules and regulations governing the way the game is played and the conduct of the players. Competitive sports span team, individual, and combat with popular examples including basketball, soccer, tennis, swimming, and
Hi, my name is Cha, and I'm going to talk about the history of competitive sport. Competitive sport have a long and well-documented history that dates back thousands of years. In fact, historical evidence shows that organized sporting activities exist at least 3,000 years ago, and possibly even earlier. These early forms of sport was closely connected to survival and social needs rather than entertainment alone. In ancient societies, competitive sport were often part of preparation for war or training for hunting. Physical activities such as running, wrestling, and sparring were essential skills for soldiers and hunters, helping them develop strength, endurance, and combat abilities. This explains why many early games involved direct physical confrontations or the use of simple weapons. Activities like throwing spears, stones, or sticks, as well as on-one combat, were common forms of competitions. Over time, these early forms of competition became more organized and formal, and Yan will continue by talking about this development.
Hi everyone, my name is Bùi Phương Nhan. Building what Cha has just mentioned, competitive sports gradually became more structured as civilizations developed. Sports began to follow clear rules and were organized as public events. In ancient Greece, for example, competitive sports were formalized through events such as the Olympic Games, which emphasized physical excellence, discipline, and fair competition. Similarly, other ancient cultures, including those in China and Egypt, record various forms of competitive games as part of religious ceremonies, military training, or community festivals. Um, Throughout centuries, sports continue to evolve alongside society, while their original purposes were rooted in warfare and survival. Competitive sports gradually took on educational, cultural, and social roles. Historical records show that sports have consistently been used to test physical ability, build resilience, and establish structure competition within communities. Uh, with this historical background in mind, we can now move on to the facts, which will be presented in the next part.
Hi, my name is Lee. After reviewing the historical background of competitive sports,
Now we can focus on some key factor benefits for students. In terms of health, competitive sports help students reduce stress and improve their ability to concentrate in class. Regular physical activity also supports better energy levels and overall well-being. In addition to physical health benefits, competitive sports contribute significantly to the development of essential life skills. Through training and competition, students can learn teamwork, leadership, discipline, resilience, and problem-solving skills. These abilities are widely recognized as important 21st century skills and are highly relevant in both academic and professional environments.
Oh, after hearing about the positive aspects of competitive sports, I will present another perspective by focusing on the important challenges. First, contact and high-intensity sports can increase the risk of injuries. Sports like football and basketball often involve physical contact and intense training. As a result, students may suffer from injuries which can lead to absences from class and difficulties in keeping up with their studies. Second, not all students have the same physical ability or interest in sports. So, why other students enjoy competitions, others may feel pressured when they are forced to compete. This pressure can cause frustration, anxiety, and reduce self-esteem, especially for students who feel less confident physically. In the long run, this can negatively affect their motivation and overall well-being. So let's continue with our current situation with Linh Hương.
Hi everyone, my name is Linh Hương. After discussing some interesting facts about competitive sports, I would like to move on to several current situations related to this topic. Firstly, there is an ongoing debate over whether competitions helps or harms student mental well-being. Many student athletes participate in competitive sports not only for physical development but also for achievement and future opportunity. This is the reason why the pressure to perform well increased significantly. According to the NCAA, around 30 to 35% of student athletes symptoms of anxiety or depression, especially during high-stake competition. Expectation from coaches, parents, and even constant comparison with their teammates also intensify stress and fear of failure. Therefore, competitive sports are increasingly being seen as a double-edged sword, which explains why the impact on student mental well-being remain widely debated today.
Hi everyone, my name is however, competitive sports also offer significant benefits for students' personal development. Through regular training and strict rules, students can learn discipline and time management, which are essential life skills. In addition, team-based sports help students develop teamwork, cooperation, as success often depends on effective communications and mutual support. According to the Aspen Institute's 2021, students who participate in competitive sports can show stronger leadership and collaboration skills. Moreover, experiencing sport victories and defeats helps students build resilience, enabling them to cope with pressures and failures. Therefore, despite existing concerns, competitive sports can positively contribute to students' overall development.
Hi, I'm Mehma. Well, competitive sport can build character. Making them compulsory often transform potential benefit into negative consequences. The shift from voluntary play to mandatory performance subjects individuals to intense physiological pressure, leading to the fear of public value and a level of aversion to physical activity. This environment frequently fosters social exclusion and stigma for those with less natural ability. Furthermore, when physical participation evolves, individuals may lack the intrinsic motivation to guarantee achievement, then they may ignore pain or proper technique to avoid penalties. Ultimately, making sport compulsory in the school priorities the scoreboard over well-being, sacrificing inclusive health for the narrow goal of winning. To ensure that sport play a vital role in promoting growth rather than physiological or physical burden, this is precisely why this forum is conceived, focusing on the following reasons. The first one is it provides a platform to address the growing concerns of mental and burnout. Furthermore, a forum allows community to re-evaluate social inclusivity to prevent the marginalization of less athletic peers while updating safety protocols for injury prevention. Ultimately, these discussions have allied sport programs with their true purpose, fostering resilience, healthy individuals rather than simply chasing a scoreboard.
Hi, my name is Ming, and before we moving on, let's take a look at the forum progression chart. Our forum will be divided into three stages. Step 1, setting the scene. We will start with a short lead-in presentation, and then with some key questions, explain the road and go through some forum rule. Step 2 will have 2 main sessions. In session 1, we will have some call each participant to give a 2-minute speech before moving on to the Q&A session. After finishing session 1, we will take a 5-minute break and then move on to session 2. We have the same forum. After completing our 2 sessions, we will take about 10-minute break for relaxation. Finally, step 3, conclusion. At this stage, moderator will give some summary conclusions, deliver a message, and give some feedback.
Hi everyone, my name is Mai. So I'm in charge for introducing our participants for today's forum. On the supporting side, we have our head teacher who believes that mandatory sports are essential for building discipline and shaping good attitude. Joining them in support is our child psychologist who will explain how sports can actually strengthen a child's mental resilience and social skills. On the opposing side, we have our head parent who is concerned about the immense pressure and the academic versus physical balance at home. And finally, giving us the most honest perspective of all, we have teenagers. They are here to tell us that while being forced to join in competitive sports can actually feel more like a nightmare than a game. So together, these 4 voices create a balanced and meaningful discussion, bringing together views from school, professional expertise, families, and students themselves. With that, now let's move to rules for the room.
Hi everyone, my name is Chang. And before we begin today's forum, I'd like
to briefly go through some rules so that our discussion can run smoothly and effectively. First of all, for session 1, each speaker will have about 2 minutes to share ideas. This limit time helps ensure that everybody has a fair chance to speak. Similarly, in session 2, each turn will also last around 2 minutes, so please be mindful of your speaking time. Secondly, we expect all participants to be respectful to one another. Everyone here have different opinion, and that diversity is what makes a forum meaningful. Thirdly, when sharing your ideas, try to do so thoughtfully. It's important to support your opinions with clear reason and examples. This will make your contribution more convincing and valuable to the discussion. In addition, please be mindful of time. Keep your ideas concise, allow equal participation, and keep the forum on track. Finally, we kindly remind everyone to avoid any offensive, rude, or disrespectful language. Let's maintain a positive and comfortable environment for all members. To conclude, by following all these rules, we can create a respectful, engaging, and productive forum for everyone. So now, before we move on to another part, are these rules clear to everyone? Great, let's move to another part.
Distinguished delegates, we will now move into round 1's formal statements. Each representative will be given the opportunity to present their positions. Speakers are kindly reminded to observe the allotted speaking time. Now we recognize Tammy representing the head teachers and speaking in favor of the motion. Tammy will have 2 minutes to present.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I'm Tammy. Today I'm standing here as a head teacher with an agreement that compulsory competitive sports should be in school life, and here are the reasons for my opinion. First, competitive sport helps students improve their health and fitness. As we know, today many young people spend too much time sitting in front of screen, and most of them are students. They do not exercise regularly unless they are requirement. Therefore, competitive sport should be compulsory in school to help students exercise regularly, help them prevent obesity, improve cardiovascular health, and build strength and endurance. Besides, competitive sports training both through weight-bearing activities, which is essential for health physical development. Secondly, competitive sport teach children how to work as a part of a team. When children train hard and improve their skills, then contribute to their team success, they will feel proud of themselves and a sense of gain confidence in their abilities. This shows them effort leads to progressing. Even losing can be a valuable lesson. Instead of seeing value as something that's negative, students can learn how to cope with disappointment and bounce back. Over time, this builds resilience and encourages positive attitude toward challenges. As a result, competitive sport helps students become more confident, motivated, and better prepared for.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your statement. Have some now invite the next speaker.
Good afternoon, class. My name is Zil. As the second speaker of the affirmative team, I will continue to support our idea that competitive sports should be compulsory in school by focusing on teamwork skill and a healthy competitive mindset. Firstly, competitive sport teach children how to work effectively as a part of team. In team sport like football, volleyball, or basketball, students must cooperate, communicate, and support their teammates to succeed. They quickly realize that winnings cannot depend on individual talent alone. Even a highly skilled player cannot succeed without teamwork and coordination. Through these experiences, students learn important skills such as responsibility, trust, and cooperation. These teamwork skills are highly valuable in their later life, especially for their future job when they need to work with many people, maybe totally different personality to achieve said goal. Another benefit is that competitive sport helps children develop a healthy competitive mindset through regular training and matches. Students learn that competition is not only about winning, but also developing personal growth. They learn to respect their opponent, follow rules, and accept both success and failure. Students need to understand that failure is also a part of learning process, not something to fear or avoid. This mindset encourages them to not give up easily and help them become more resilient and confident. A healthy competitive mindset teaches children to compete for growth, not for victory. So that's why it clearly shows competitive sports should be compulsory in school.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Phương Thảo representing the head teacher and speaking in favor of the motion. Thảo will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi, my name is Phương Thảo. Well, in my opinion, I believe that competitive sport can create opportunities for non-academic students. You know, not all students can perform well in academic subjects such as math or literatures, and this can make them feel less confident at school. Meanwhile, competitive sport can provide these students a different way to succeed and to be recognized. Through training and competition, these students can show their strength like their teamwork spirit or their determination. And when they can gain success in sport, they can feel more motivated in their school life. Therefore, competitive sport help to create a more inclusive learning environment where all students are valued for different abilities, not just academic score. In addition, decision-making skill under pressure is also improved. Competitive sport helps students gradually become familiar with pressure in a supportive way. During matches, students have to make quick decisions, perform well under time constraint, and also cope with the expectation. This exposure allows them to experience stress at a more manageable level. Over time, students can learn how to stay calm, regulate their emotion, and maintain good performance under pressure. So, competitive sports do not create unnecessary stress, but build psychological resilience for students to handle challenges both in school and in their personal life. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Quang Minh representing the child psychologist and speaking in favor of the motion. Minh will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi everyone, I'm Minh Vi and I'm staying here as the first speaker of Team Child Psychologist to support making competitive sport compulsory in school. As psychologists, we believe that schools should develop the whole child and not just only academic performance. Today, many children are like the regular physical activity, emotional resilience, and real social connection. So that's why we support making competitive sports compulsory in schools. From a child psychology perspective, physical development is the foundation of the healthy development. Without healthy body, children may get struggle with the energy, the concentration, and even the emotional balance in their real life. First, competitive sports significantly improve the cardiovascular health and overall physical fitness. Unlike casual exercise, a competitive sport requires regular participation and moderate to the high intensity activity. So during the training competition, children will repeatedly raise their heart rate, which strengthen their heart, improve the circulation, and even the physical resilience. So more important, competitive sport follow the structured schedule and the clear progression. This consistency is crucial because in the development psychology, because it helps children to build the long-term physical habits, not just the short-term one. So this is supported by a longitudinal study published in the Frontiers in Sports and Active Living, which found that children in structured school-based sports show the significant improvement in aerobic fitness. And this benefit will still present 1 year later. So therefore, compulsory competitive sports are not about forcing children to win, but about protecting them in the physical health. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Hoa Mai representing the tribe psychologists and speaking in favor of the motions. Mai will have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone, my name is Hoa Mai. Competitive sports play a significant role in improving physical health and overall fitness, especially among young people. First of all, competitive sports burn far more calories because they involve high intensity and continuous movement. Unlike gentle activities like jogging or walking, competitive sports require sprinting, jumping, and sustained effort through training session and match. This results in the higher energy expenditure in a shorter term. Secondly, competitive sports play a crucial role in bone growth and high development in children. Many competitive sports are weight-bearing, meaning they can control the stress. The stress stimulates the release of growth hormones and increase bone density, which directly support bone growth during children in section. The reason I say that because, for example, in recent Hui, a famous physical, found that children who participate in athlete 3 times per week have a higher bone mineral density in the family than non-active children. Similarly, report that the boy and girl aged from 12 and 18 years who participate in high-impact competitive sports, such as basketball or football, have a great bone density compared to those engaged in swimming or non-activity. And in addition, children who regularly participate in competitive sports like volleyball often show stronger bone and faster, and they tend to grow taller than inactive peers. Thank you.
Thank you for your statements. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Dahan representing the tribe psychologists and speaking in favor of the motion. Han will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi everyone, my name is Dahan. As a physiologist, I believe that competitive sport play an important role in improving children's body coordination and reflexes in a structured and sustainable way. They require children to perform repeated movements such as running, jumping, changing direction, and controlling a ball or equipment. This activity change different parts of the body to work together more efficiently, which enhance overall coordination. During training and competition, children must react quickly and quickly to unpredictable situations, including opponents' action or teammate movement, or helping to sharpen their reflexes and reaction speed. Because competitive sport follow structured training program with regular practice, this improvements are long-lasting. This is supported by evidence from a school-based physical activity intervention show that added 1 extra hour of structured physical activity per week lead to 9% increase children motor competence after 1 year. This proves that structural activities like competitive sport effectively enhance coordination and reflexes over time. So this is my speech. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speakers. We recognize Huyền Trang representing the head parents and speaking against emotions. Trang will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi, my name is Huyền Trang, and as parents, we do not support the idea that competitive sport should be compulsory at school. Our position does not come from this side of physical activity itself, but it's from the concern about the nature of competitive sport and the value is promoted when it's sport of our children. First of all, it is important to clarify what a competitive sport actually are. Competitive sport are structured activity that place strong emphasis on winning, ranking, and comparison. Students are measured by their performance, score, and outcomes, and their value within the activity is often determined by how well they perform, but compared to others. This means that success defined narrowly and leaving little room for individual pace, personal enjoyment, and emotional support. So parents therefore question whether school sport should interest and ability of all students. Not every student enjoy or is good at the same kind of activities. Some students do well in sport while others are stronger in different areas. However, school sport often focus only on one type of activities, so not everyone feel comfortable taking part in. From a parent point of view, this create inequality. The same student often get more attention and encouragement, while others feel ignored, not because they are not trying, but because their ability is different. We believe that schools should value different interests and talent. When activity is too narrow, some students feel left out. This is why we're very concerned about interest and equality in school sport. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Ngọc Quỳnh representing the head parents and speaking against emotion. Quỳnh, you have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone, my name is Ngọc Quỳnh. From a parent point of view, making competitive sport compulsory at school can seriously reduce student learning time and limit their overall personal development. Firstly, academic pressures is often very high in many educational systems. Students spend long hours at school, followed by homework, academic assessment, and exam preparations. And if we make competitive sport compulsory at school, they can even take up more time and energy. As a parent, we worry that children can become physically exhausted, which make it harder for them to concentrate in class and puts them unnecessary stress. Sadly, not all students develop in the same way and have the same strength. Some students are academically inclined while others are more interested in others like music, art, technology. So competitive compulsory sport can make them sacrifice their personal time that have been spent on developing their true talent and interest. In conclusion, making competitive sport at school is not necessary because it can limit their student personal growth and as parents, we believe that schools should offer sport as an options, not an obligations, and because they can have more space to your personal growth and for academic priorities.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Hoàng Châu representing the S parents and speaking against the motion. So we have 2 minutes to present.
Hi, I'm Hoàng Châu. I think that compulsory competitive sport often goes against the idea of
The student-central education. School should respect the students' different interests and abilities, but
forcing everyone into the competition can ignore those differences. Not
every student feels motivated and confident in a highly competitive environment. Instead of encouraging teamwork, compulsory competition can create an unhealthy versus the mentality. Students may begin to see opponents as enemies rather than
peers, which may reduce respect and positive relationship. This can lead to several problems. One major issue is poor sportsmanship. When students feel pressure to win, they may just talk or become sore losers rather than building character. For the rivalry can bring out negative behavior. Another concern is that conflict from the sport field can spill over into the classroom. Disagreement during match do not always end after the game. Students may carry resentment into the school life, causing tension, division, or even bullying, which harm the learning environment. And school should offer sport as an option, not a requirement, to support the well-being of all students. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speakers. We recognize two representing the secondary school students and speaking against motion. So we will have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone, my name is Khánh Thư. So as a student, I believe that competing against peers with superior physical development or experience is unfair. You know, when we watch youth sport, we often assume we are seeing a fair contest of skill, but the reality is far different. You know, competing against a peer who is more physically developed is not just difficult, it is fundamentally unfair. This is because youth sport often suffer from a profound biological mismatch. We aren't always measuring who is the better athlete. We are measuring who reached puberty first. This inequality starts with the relative age effect. Research shows that students born earlier in the school year are 3.5 times more likely to be labeled talented, simply because they are stronger, older, and faster than their classmates. You know, it is not talent, it is a head start. Furthermore, as student enters secondary school, this gap becomes even more extreme. A 2025 study published in Age World revealed a staggering 6-year biological age gap among children of the same age. Researchers from University of Bath found that only 80% of boys actually develop an alignment with their birth year. This means that in single under 14 match, you could have a child with a body of 11 years old playing against a peer who already have physical maturity of a 17-year-old. Consequently, pitting a bloomer against a late bloomer is said to be a fair assessment of Thank you for your listening.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speakers. We recognize Ling Chi representing the secondary school students and speaking against the motion. He will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi everyone, my name is Ling Chi. As a student, I'm gonna talk about physical health. Winning a medal should never be more important than teenagers' health. I want to focus physical health because school sports are supposed to make students healthier, not weaker. When competitive sports are compulsory, many teenagers are pushed to train harder and longer than their bodies can handle. At our age, bones, muscles, and joints are still developing, so too much intensity can easily lead to exhaustion and physical problems. As mentioned in the article, high school wrestlers learn training dangers firsthand. Some athletes are forced into extreme practice such as rapid weight loss, dieting, and excessive cardio exercise. These methods may help them reach a target weight or win a match, but they clearly damage real physical health. Wrestling, although wrestling is an extreme example, the same mindset can appear in many school sports. Teenagers need balanced activity, enough rest, and proper nutrition to grow normally. Physical activity should help us build lifelong healthy habits, not teach us to sacrifice our bodies for short-term results. Therefore, schools should encourage safe and enjoyable exercise instead of forcing competitive sport. Health must come before the medals, score, and rankings. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the last speaker of round 1. We recognize Kiều Lê representing the secondary school students and speaking against the motions. Lê will have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone, my name is Kiều Lê. As a student, I strongly disagree with the idea that competitive sports should be compulsory in schools, mainly because of the performance pressure and stress they place on young people. Competitive sports focus heavily on winning and results, which creates serious mental strain. According to the Journal of Youth Sports, 45% of child athletes experience performance anxiety before competitions. This pressure does not stop at the sport field. 38% of youth aged 12 to 17 suffer from sleep disruption during tournaments, affecting their health and concentration at school. In addition, academic performance is often negatively impacted. Research shows that 28% of students experience a decline in grades during peak competition seasons. Instead of supporting balanced development, compulsory competitive sports can force students to choose between academic success and sports success. Even more concerning is the long-term impact on mental health. Research indicates that 1 in 3 youth experience burnout by the age of 13 due to the constant pressure to excel. Parental expectations worsen this situation, with 42% of young athletes admitting they fear disappointing their families. In elite youth sports program, the problem becomes even more serious as 55% of participants report chronic stress symptoms. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We would like to thank all delegates for their statements. This concludes round 1. The committee will now proceed to the questions and answer sessions.
Hi guys, my name is Ngọc Huyền. Now it's a time for Q&A session. So after the presentation is good, if you have any question to ask the others to clarify the doubts, please raise your hand. And remember two key rules. Each group will have a maximum of 2 questions, and you will have a maximum of 30 seconds to consult before presenting your answer. So, are there any questions? We would like to invite the team of parents.
I just want to give a question for teacher. Is that given the claimed benefits of competitive sport for students' physical health, so how can school ensure these outcomes are achieved for all students without creating excessive pressures or emotional harm?
Thank you for your question. So I will answer your question now. From my perspective, schools can ensure that physical health benefits of competitive sports are achieved for all students by creating a balanced and supportive approach. First, schools should focus on regular participation, skill development, and personal improvement rather than only winning or high performance, And this reduces pressure while still encouraging consistent physical activity that improves fitness and prevents health problems. Yes, that's all what I think.
Thank you for your answer. So now, are there any questions? I would like to invite a group of secondary school students.
I have a question for psychologists. You said competitive sports are necessary for children's health, but why must their activity be competitive? Couldn't the same cardiovascular benefits come from non-competitive PE, dance, or recreational exercise?
Thank you for your question. My name is Minbi, and I will answer your question. I have said the competitive sport is not forcing the student to be in the unequal environment. It forces students to be disciplined and enjoy the structure and sustainable exercise in sport. It requires the clear rules and the long-term commitment. And in that environment, a student will have to be disciplined and to exercise consistently, which they don't need to depend on their feelings or what they want to do at that time. So you say that it's unequal. I think that school can divide them in the appropriate sport, which are appropriate to their ability, so that they don't need to be forced in the unequal environment to have the not have the bad performance, not have the bad performance. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your answer. So now, are there any questions else? If you don't have any questions and there are a few minutes remaining as a moderator, I would like to ask the group of parents. So, as a parent representative, are you concerned that less competition might reduce teamwork or resilience skills?
As a parent, I don't think that less competitions will necessarily reduce teamwork or resilience skills, just because children can still develop teamwork through collaboration or project in class instead of attending competitive sport just to gain teamwork or resilience skill. And regarding resilience, it doesn't always come from intense competitions. In some cases, excessive pressures can actually discourage children and damage their confidence. And a more balanced environment with less competitions may help children build resilience gradually by allowing them to make a mistake, to learn and to improve from their own space, not just.
Thank you for your answer. So now we would like to have another question for group of secondary school students. As a student, how do compulsory competitive sports affect your motivation, confidence, or enjoyment of school life?
Okay, so as a student, compulsory competitive sport can significantly boost motivation by teaching us the value of discipline and goal setting. However, for those who are naturally athletic, the pressure to perform publicly can sometimes damage self-confidence and lead to feeling of inadequacy. While this program foster a sense of community, they may also decrease the overall enjoyment of the school life if the environment becomes overly aggressive and inclusive.
Thank you for your answers. So your answer is the end of this Q&A session. Now we will have a 5-minute break.
Thank you to my name is Joanne. Thank you to the moderator and all speakers from round 1 for your insightful contribution.
into round two formal statements. Each representative will be given the opportunity to present their position. Speakers are kindly reminded to observe allotted speaking time. We recognize when I'm representing the head teacher and speaking in favor of the motion, Quỳnh Anh will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi everyone, my name is Quỳnh Anh, and now I will start my presentation. And as a teacher, I believe that competitive sports help students build pressure resilience in a safe and controlled environment. During training and competitions, students often face time pressure, expectations from teammates, and the fear of making mistakes. Instead of avoiding pressure, they learn how to stay calm and focused while performing. With guidance from teachers and coaches, students gradually develop ways to manage stress, such as controlling their emotions and concentrating on the task. Over time, this experience makes students more confident when facing exams, presentations, and challenges beyond school. Pressure in sports prepares students for pressure in real life. Competitive sports also help students learn how to cope with failure in a healthy way. In matches, we both know that losing is a normal part of the experience, and it is not something rare or shameful. Students learn to accept the result, reflect on their mistakes, and think about how to improve next time. This process helps them understand that failure does not define who they are, but shows where they can grow. Over time, students become less afraid of failure and more willing to try again. These attitudes are very important in school, especially when students face with difficult exams or academic challenges. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speakers. We recognize Anh Dương representing the head teacher and speaking in favor of the motion. You will also have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone. Anh Dương. As a teacher, I strongly believe that competitive sports should be compulsory in schools. In competitive sports, I believe that students experience strong emotions all the time, excitement when they are winning, frustration when they make mistakes, and disappointment when the result is not what they expected. During a match, they cannot simply stop or walk away. Instead, they have to stay calm, follow the rules, and keep working with their teammates. Over time, with guidance of teachers, students learn how to control their emotions and react more positively under pressure. This is especially important at the lower secondary level, and when many students still struggle with emotional control. These skills do not stay on the sports field. They help students handle exams, conflicts, and challenges in everyday life as well. And third, competitive sports help students develop a strong sense of responsibility. In a team, every student has a specific role, and their actions directly affect the team's performance. Students quickly realize that missing practice, arriving late, or not giving their best effort can harm the whole group. This makes responsibility real, not just a rule written in a textbook. Over time, students learn to be more reliable, take responsibility for their actions, for their mistakes, and also stay committed to their duties. These skills are valuable not only in sports, but also in schoolwork and future workplaces. Overall, in competitive sports, responsibility is unavoidable. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. Now we invite the next speaker. We recognize Phương Uyên representing the head teacher is speaking in favor of the motion, you will have to 2 minutes to represent.
Hi everyone, I'm Fung Yuan, and as I am a teacher, I also believe that competitive sport encourages students to set long-term commitment and goal orientation. So unlike short-term classroom tasks that completed in a single lesson, competitive sports require students to continuous train over a long period of time, and students do not improve overnight, and that is the fact. So they have to practice regularly, accept slow progress, and keep going even when results are not immediately visible. And through this process, students will learn that success comes from consistent effort and quick wins, and they also begin to set realistic goals and track the progress, or maybe stay patient when facing obstacles and setbacks. So from a perspective, these habits are extremely valuable, not only for their academic success, but also for their personal development and future career. Besides, I also believe that team sport play an important role in improving students' mental well-being. It gives them a break from academic pressure and release negative emotions after long hours of studying. And in addition, being part of team helps students feel connected and supported, which reduces the feeling of loneliness and isolation. So I think that when students are mentally healthier, they are more focused in class, more confident in themselves, and better able to deal with challenges at school and in daily life.
Thank you for your statement. We invite the next speaker. We recognize Mai Phương representing the child psychologist and speaking in favor of the motion. You will have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone, my name is Mai Phương, and as a child psychologist, I believe that school is not just a place for learning facts, it is a training ground for human mind. Therefore, we support the idea that competitive sports should be encouraged. One thing we often misunderstood about school is competition. We treat it as something optional, but also dangerous. But biologically, competition is natural. The desire to win, to prove ourselves, and to test our limits is hardwired into human nature. That is why when school tries to ignore competition, it doesn't disappear. Instead, it comes out in unhealthy ways like bullying, social conflicts, or intense anxiety. By pretending competition doesn't exist, we are not making school safer. We are actually creating chaos. In psychology, this is called sublimation. That means turning harmful energy into something positive. That is exactly why we think competitive sport should be mandatory. On the sport field, aggression becomes discipline, ego becomes teamwork, and rivalry follows clear rules. There are boundaries, referees, and respect. And I think this is safe zone. Within this structure, students learn one of the most important life skills, emotional control under pressure. They learn how to face opponents without hating them, how to lose without breaking down, and how to keep going when things are difficult. So, because we have students who are avoid competition. The shy, the anxious, the non-athletic are the ones who need training the most. If school remain optional, only confident students benefit, and the rest are left behind. So I think we should stop fearing competition. Instead, we should build it strongly for healthier individuals. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Huang, representing the child psychologist and speaking in favor of the motion. You will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi. Hi, my name is Huang, and
As a psychologist, I strongly support the idea that competitive sport can enhance children's self-confidence. From a psychological perspective, self-confidence develops when children experience mastery, feedback, and resilience, all of which are built naturally in competitive sport. When children train consistently and improve and see the measurable improvement, their brain associate their effort with success. This strengthens what we call self-efficacy, or the belief in one's own ability. Competition also teaches children how to cope with failure. Losing a match or making a mistake can make them feel terrible, but with proper guidance from coaches, they learn that failure is just temporary and manageable. Moreover, associating with teammates and sharing feedback allow them to think and express openly. These processes help them build emotional resilience rather than fear of failure, and which is essential for healthy confidence. So, for all that reason, I want to assert that competitive sport can enhance children's confidence and their belief in themselves. Thank you.
We now invite the next speakers. We recognize and representing the child psychologist and speaking in favor of the motion. You will also have 2 minutes to present.
So, building back on what has already been said, I want to mention a problem that many young people are facing today, which is loneliness. Even at schools, many students may feel disconnected or unsure where they belong to. So, from psychology, we as psychologists know that the need to belong is a very basic human need. And in schools, competitive sports, especially competitive team sports, act as a very effective way to create this sense of belonging. So when students join a team, they no longer think only about themselves, but they start to think as a part of a group. They share goals, train together, and depend maybe heavily on each other. So gradually they turn from a me mindset to a we mindset. That is very positive, right? So yes, winning together will boost their pride and unity, while losing together will teach them how to support and embrace each other and learn how to cope with and accept failures and disappointment. Simultaneously, competitive sports give students a very safe space to cope with negative feelings, because on the field, such strong emotions as depression or anxieties or frustration are thoroughly guided by strict rules, teamwork, and fair play, which means over time they will develop their emotional control. So generally speaking, after all, we know that competitive sport will have students feel less lonely and always ready to embrace who they are. That's why we believe that competitive sport should be strongly supported in school.
Thank you. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize representing the head parents and speaking against the motion. Chung will have 2 minutes to present.
Hello. So, hi guys, my name is Wei Chung. So today I will talk about how we feel about making competitive sport compulsory. So from a parent perspective, making competitive sport compulsory in school is a worrying policy because it puts children's health at risk. As parents, our top priority is not medal or school ranking. It's about the physical and emotional well-being of our children. Every child has different physical condition, Some naturally get a great talent in becoming a professional athlete, and while others may have weaker health or medical condition that limits their physical ability, forcing all students to compete in the same way ignores this difference. We are especially concerned about the risk of serious injury. Competitive sport often involve high physical pressure, and we all know that children's bodies are still developing. Dangerous injuries such as ACL or TBI can lead to a long-term damage that may affect the long-term health and future for the rest of their life. From a parent point of view, no school achievement is worth such a cost. And another issue that deeply worry parents is that many children continue to play even when they are injured. They may be afraid of punishment for evaluation or embarrassment in front of their classmates. So, our opinion is that schools should protect students, not push them beyond their limit. Health should never be sacrificed for school performance or medal. And schools should offer flexible sport programs that allow children to participate safely and voluntarily. That's all.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speakers. We recognize Phương Linh representing the head parents and speaking against the motion. Linh will have 2 minutes to present.
Hi guys, my name is Phương Linh, and as a parent, we oppose making competitive sport compulsory in school. And our concern is simple. Compulsory competitive sport places children under public failure and emotional pressure, which negatively affect to their psychological development. Competitive sports expose children to the public judgment, and when a children lose in front of their peers or adults, many of them experience shame or embarrassment, and at a young age. Some children are often self-blame themselves and begin to see themselves as weak or inadequate. And this fear of criticism, comparison, and negative labeling creates a lasting emotional stress and fear of public failure. And at the same time, forced competition removes their autonomy and choice. When a children are required to complete a task before they are emotionally ready, this competition often causes the source of fear rather than motivation. And this pressure often results in their avoidance, resistance, and disengagement from their sports or school activities. Some people argue that failure builds resilience, but resilience cannot grow under the forced competition to public failure. It develops in safe, supportive, and voluntary environment. And ultimately, from a parental perspective, education should prioritize children's emotional development over winning or ranking, which leads to a message: save mind before scholar. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speakers. We recognize Raven Chan representing the head parents and speaking against the motion. You will also have 2 minutes to present.
Hi guys, my name is Raven Chan, and as parents, our biggest concern is that making competitive sport compulsory in school can create win at all costs mentally among students. Like when winning becomes the main goal, the real purpose of sport is lost. And instead of enjoying physical activities or learning positive values, students are under constant pressure to win. And for many students, especially those who are not very athletic, this pressure can be stressful and discouraging. And in this competitive environment, bad behavior often become more common. Like for some students, may become more aggressive blame their teammate or even cheat just because they want to win. And they also have a mindset that personal values only be judged by success, by results that they made, and like effort, improvement, and also self improvement can be ignored. As parents, we believe that this can send a wrong message to children about what truly matters. And education should help students grow not only academically but also morally. School also have to teach them how to be respect, cooperations, and self improvement. And for these reasons, we strongly believe that competitive sports should be optional, not compulsory, and it allows children to take part willingly, enjoy physical activity, and learn valuable lessons in a healthy and positive way, rather than being forced into a toxic competitive environment.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Hung Zhang representing the secondary students and speaking against the motion. Zhang, we have 2 minutes to present.
Hello everyone, my name is Hung Zhang, and as a student, I think that competitive sports shouldn't be compulsory in school because it brings a high risk of injury. First, evidence clearly shows that injuries are common in competitive school sports, and large-scale studies in the United States reveal that injury is not a rare or exceptional outcome, but regular occurrence. For example, nationwide study estimated over 1.4 million injuries per year among high school athletes and show that injuries occur nearly 3 times more often in competition than in training. This demonstrates that when students are placed in competitive environments, injury becomes statistically likely rather than accidental. Therefore, if competitive sports are compulsory, a significant number of students will be forced into a situation where physical harm is not just possible but probable. Second, these injuries cannot be dismissed as minor or harmless. International research involving thousands of students across 25 countries shows that between 30% and 44% of adolescents experience at least one serious injury in a year, and up to 1/3 of these injuries were caused by sports activities. These are not simple scratches, they often involve broken bones or head injuries. Structure injuries can result in weeks or months away from school, long-term medical treatment, and this directly undermines student academic performance and psychological well-being. If an activity causes predictable harm that interferes with student education, then it directly contradicts the primary mission of schools to protect learning and well-being.
Thank you for your statement. We now invite the next speaker. We recognize Haling representing the secondary students and speaking against the motion. You will also have 2 minutes to present.
Hi everyone, I am Lewin Haling. From a teenager's perspective, competitive sports should not be compulsory in school because choice strengthens commitment. My first argument is compulsory sports fail to build real motivation. When students are forced to compete, their motivation just comes from pressure. There are rules, grades, or fear of consequences, and this type of motivation is short-term and unreliable. It does not encourage students to push themselves and improve. And actually, real commitment develops when teenagers feel that they have control over their choices. And my second argument is choice leads to higher quality engagement. When sports are optional, students who choose to participate actually want to be there. They put in more effort, take responsibility for their performance and contribute positively to teamwork. Actually, a smaller group of motivated students have better results than a large group of students who are forced to participate without interest. And my third argument focuses on long-term outcomes. Teenagers are still forming their attitude towards physical activity. So if sports are associated with pressure, embarrassment, or constant comparison, many students stop being active once school ends. The grand sports are linked to choice, enjoyment, and so students are likely to stay active independently. Thank you.
Thank you for your statement. We'd like to thank all the delegates for their statements. That concludes round 2. The committee will now proceed the question and answer section.
Hi guys, I'm Ngọc Huyền and welcome back to Q&A session. Please keep in mind the rules that I mentioned before. Each group will have a maximum of 2 questions and a maximum of 30 seconds to consult with your teammates before presenting your answer. So please raise your hand if you have questions. We would like to invite team head teacher.
I want to ask the teenager. So you said that teenagers' bodies are still developing. So compulsory competition puts the weakest students at the highest risks. So if physical differences justify removing competition, should schools also separate or remove academic competition due to unequal cognitive development?
Okay, thank you for your question. And I answer no. We are not saying all competition should be removed. Physical and academic competition are different. Getting lower grades may be disappointing, but it does not break bones or damage health. In sport, biological difference creates real safety risk. As my teammate to mention, a late bloomer who may be 6 years ahead physically, that is not only unfair, it can be dangerous. Academic competition is also flexible. Students can choose subjects, improve step by step, and no one gets injury in the process. But compulsory sports require physical risk even when a student is not ready. So we are not against competition itself. We are against forcing high-risk physical competition on equal bodies.
Thank you for your answer. Now, are there any other questions? We would like to invite the team of parents, of child psychologists.
parents, you guys argue that competitive sports will create high emotional pressure and fear of public failure. So you guys don't support competitive sports in school. But I want to ask, but if schools don't support competitive sports, how will they ever learn to cope with pressure and comparison and public failure in real life settings where these obstacles are unavoidable?
Okay, thank you for your question. And firstly, I want to clarify our position first. We are not suggesting that schools should avoid competitive sport. What we are recommending is that competitive sport should be optional rather than compulsory, which allows students to choose how and when to engage. And secondly, coping with pressure does not come only from competitive sport, right? And students regularly face pressure through their presentation or academic challenge or performance in class. And this situation often require evaluation or expectation, but it at the level of more gradually and more supportive setting. And as I mentioned before, resilience cannot grow through the forced competition to public failure. It develops in safe, supportive, and voluntary environment, which build for the student confidence to cope with pressure and build confidence before they face to higher state competition. And our argument, therefore, is education should prioritize children's emotional development, and it's about managing it responsibly to choice and appropriate exposure. Thank you.
Thank you for your answer. So now, are there any questions? If there are no more questions of the teams, our moderator team would like to ask group of head teachers. Many parents worry about stress and pressure. Why do you believe the benefits of mandatory competitive sports outweigh these concerns?
As you said, many parents worry that mandatory competitive sports may create stress and pressure, and I think that concern is understandable. However, I believe that the benefits or outweigh the concern, because competitive sport do not simply add pressure. They teach students how to manage it in a healthy way. So first, stress, as you know, stress is already a part of students' life in academics. Competitive sports just provide a structured and supervised environment where students will learn to cope with pressure they will able to handle failure and recover from setbacks and obstacles. And they are life skills that cannot be fully developed through exams alone. And secondly, when implemented properly, mandatory sports will emphasize participation, teamwork, and personal improvement rather than winning at all cost. And this shifts pressure into motivation, and it will help students to build their resilience, their self-discipline, and their confidence. So, from my perspective, while pressure exists, competitive sports help students turn stress into growth and preparing them not just for competitions but for their real life challenges in the future. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your answer. Now we would like to have another question for the team of child psychologists. Our question is that critics argue competition can harm self-esteem. How would you respond to this concern based on psychological research or practice?
Well, I think to define what self-esteem is to me, what is your definition of self-esteem is? To me, self-esteem is the belief and confidence in your own ability, and it can harm you if you frame it as your value depends on your winning. And in our society, we do not do this. And in our competition, there's difference between the ego-focused competition and mastery-focused competition. That is improving skills. And in our society, we will not see it as something makes you feel bad about yourself because you are not good. It's just an opportunity for you to enhance your skill, as you can connect with your teammates, and it's a chance for you to play with others. And we do not lose esteem because we will not think failure is treated as a personal worthlessness. Instead of feedback, we will give feedback to the children, and I think this is gonna be the good thing for them to learn something from the competitive sport they are joining. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your answers. Now we will have a 10 minutes break.
Speakers, for your valuable perspective and thoughtful arguments. Now for the conclusion, Lincoln will summarize the key points of our discussions.
Hi, my name is Cha, and I will summarize for the head teacher and try the psychologist. In summary, as supporters, including head teachers, have mentioned, competitive sports should be compulsory in schools because they improve physical health, reduce obesity, and encourage regular exercise. They also develop teamwork, responsibilities, confidence, and the ability to handle pressure and failure, while supporting mental well-being and giving non-academic students opportunity to success. Similarly, child psychologists agree that competitive sports strengthen students' overall physical and healthy development. Regular structures, high-intensity activities improve cardiovascular health, endurance, bone strength, coordinations, and body consumptions. Research also show that sports help students build confidence, resilience, teamwork skills, and a sense of belonging.
Hi, my name is Ling. Mylin. So, in summary, as the team of opponents, head parents, and teenagers, I would like to highlight the reasons why competitive sport should be compulsory for students. First, it creates unfair competition due to the biological mismatch between students. In secondary school, students hit puberty at different times, leading to a massive gap in height and strength. Playing against a more physically developed peer is not a test of skill, but a display of biological luck. Furthermore, the relative age effect shows that older students have a 3.5 times higher chance of being labeled as talented simply because they are bigger and faster. As a result, forced competition doesn't reflect real potential and often leaves students feeling discouraged. Secondly, compulsory sports can push developing bodies beyond their limits. To perform better, students may face overtraining, exhaustion, and unhealthy habits. We also cannot ignore the physical risk. In intense competition, serious injuries are not rare accidents, but predictable results that can lead to school absence and long-term damage. Therefore, while schools should encourage exercise, competitive sport must be voluntary rather than compulsory. This ensures that physical activity remains safe, enjoyable, and beneficial for every student's well-being. So now let's move to conclusion.
Hi, my name is Ling. So now I will present conclusion. In conclusion, this forum shows that the impact of competitive sports in school depends largely on how they are implemented. While competitive sports can improve physical health, teamwork, and resilience, making them compulsory may also lead to pressure, inequality, injury, and even negative effects on student mental well-being. Education should focus on developing our students, not just rewarding those who perform best in competition. Therefore, schools should adopt a more flexible and inclusive approach, where sport supports student health, personal growth, and long-term development, rather than prioritizing winning above all else.
Building on this conclusion, I would like to share my final message. Overall, the different perspectives in this forum highlight one key point. Competitive sports have a powerful impact on students. Parents and teenagers raise concern about injuries, psychological pressure, unfairness, and the lack of choice. In contrast, psychologists and teachers emphasize that when competitive sports are well structured and properly guided, they can improve physical health,
self-confidence, and the ability to cope with pressure.
Hi everyone, my name is Bùi Phương Nhàn, and therefore the real issue is not whether sports exist in schools, but how they are implemented. Competitive sports should educate, not intimidate, build character, not fear, and support balanced development, not obsession with winning. To conclude this session, we will now turn to Ngân and Quang Minh for their final feedback.
Hello, I'm Thu Ngân, and now we'll give feedback for the head teacher and the psychologist. Overall, you guys are well organized, logical, and clearly divided among speakers. The ideas are relevant, well developed, and strongly support the benefits of competitive sports for students. The use of cause-effect arrows makes the argument easy to follow, and there is good coverage of both physical and psychological benefits. To improve, you could reduce some repetition between points like pressure failure or emotional control, and add short examples or linking sentence to make transitions smoother when speaking. For the psychologist, your team is well structured, evidence-based, and clearly divided among speakers. Strong use of research and clear explanations make the argument persuasive. To improve, some sessions could be simplified and overlaps reduced to make the presentation smoother and more engaging for listeners. Now we will move on to Quang Minh.
Hi everyone, my name is Quang Minh and I continue the feedback. First, about head parent, you have clearly present strong parental concern about compulsory competitive sport, especially regarding inclusion, safety, and emotional well-being. The arguments are logical and relevant. Slightly tightening repeated points would make the presentation more impactful. Move on to students. The statements clearly present teenager concern with strong example and research support. The arguments are relevant and convincing. Slightly simplifying statistics would make it more engaging and easier to follow.
Okay, this is the end of the forum. Thank you for your attention, and we hope that you enjoy our forum. Thank you.
Ok, cảm ơn cả lớp với một cái forum mặc dù là forum số 0 và cũng là forum đầu tiên các bạn làm, nhưng mà thực sự là rất là chỉn chu. Và đây chính là một cái sequence rất là chuẩn với một cái forum này, một cái hình thức forum. Ở đây thì cô sẽ nói rất là nhanh thôi vì chúng ta sẽ không còn nhiều thời gian nữa. Sẽ nói nhanh qua từng vai một nhé. Về cơ bản thì thứ nhất là đầu tiên là về cái structure là chúng ta đang làm rất là chuẩn rồi. Tuy nhiên thì là cái forum này có lẽ là nó là cái forum đầu tiên, cho nên là và các cái idea thì cũng được đưa cho các bạn trước rồi, cho nên có vẻ như là cũng hơi thiếu nhiệt huyết tí. Cần có nhiệt huyết hơn nữa, nhất là trong các phần Q&A các bạn cần phải chủ động hơn, các nhóm participant cần chủ động hơn, không cần đợi đến lúc mode các bạn ấy phải đứng lên để đặt câu hỏi ạ. Đó. Rồi, tiếp nữa là chúng ta sẽ nhận xét nhanh theo từng vai. Đầu tiên là về vai của moderator. Nhóm moderator đang làm việc khá là tốt và ổn định ở việc là các bạn ý timing rất chuẩn, đến đâu là đúng đến đấy, kể cả phần Q&A cũng có đếm ngược để mà chúng ta phải trao đổi nó kịp giờ. Đó, các bạn moderator cũng đang làm rất tốt trong việc là chia cái lượt lời cho từng cái cá nhân. Tất cả mọi người đều có những cái phần lượt lời nói rất là vừa phải và đều nhau. Đó. Tuy nhiên thì cái này nhóm moderator và các nhóm khác sau này sẽ làm moderator, nên các bạn lưu ý một chút. Đấy là trong cái phần mà intro ấy, trong cái phần mà intro của từng cái session ấy, có nghĩa là cái phần mà chúng ta sẽ giới thiệu về cái positions của các cái nhóm participant ấy, thì các nhóm moderator không cần phải giới thiệu hộ có nghĩa là chúng mình sẽ chỉ nói rằng là bây giờ sẽ là lượt của teacher. Đó, thế xong các bạn chỉ tham minh thôi. Ví dụ như là gì? Ví dụ như trong cái lượt của teacher sẽ là Trà My, xong đến Dịu, xong đến Phương Thảo chẳng hạn, thì chúng ta không cần phải dừng lại, nghĩa là hết 2 phút của Trà My chẳng hạn, dừng rồi ý là em chỉ ra dấu hiệu hoặc là em chỉ nói là time's up thôi, next person please, thế thôi, để cho các bạn ấy chuyển lượt luôn, chứ mình sẽ không cần phải giới thiệu như là MC giới thiệu nữa, bởi vì là mình lúc này mình đã giới thiệu cái nhóm đấy rồi, nên cái nhóm đấy họ sẽ tự transfer với nhau trong cái nhóm đấy luôn, họ sẽ phải tự transfer với nhau. Thêm nữa là chính bởi vì cái việc phải tự transfer đấy cho nên là cái này nhắc luôn, không phải chỉ riêng ở nhóm participant mà không, thực ra là tại vì là do ở đây là nhóm mốt dừng xong rồi nhóm mốt tự giới thiệu, thì nên thành ra đương nhiên nhóm participant sẽ không tự transfer được và sẽ không tự có các cái signal ấy, rằng là gì tôi nói hết phần của tôi và đến lượt tiếp theo sẽ là bạn này nói và cái bạn ấy sẽ nói tiếp cái gì đấy. Đó, thì thông thường mình sẽ phải có cái đấy. Thông thường ở trong nhóm của mình sẽ phải từ người thứ nhất sang người thứ hai mình cũng phải có một độ chuyển nhất định. Tương tự như thế, kể cả nhóm mốt trong cái phần intro, các bạn khi chuyển từ người này sang người kia cũng phải có cái độ giới thiệu như thế. Có một số bạn nói được nhưng một số bạn thì quên. Gần như là kiểu chỉ cầm cái là cứ đến lượt mình thì đưa mic và thế là nói. Đó, thì chúng ta lưu ý một chút về cái độ chuyển đấy, bởi vì cái độ chuyển đấy nó cũng sẽ được tính trong cái phần điểm về coherence của các bạn. Đó, rồi thế thì ở đây nhóm mốt sẽ lưu ý là các nhóm sau các bạn sẽ không cần phải giới thiệu trong giữa cái phần thuyết trình của các bạn ấy nữa, vì như thế cũng sẽ mất thêm 1-2 phút nữa. Thành ra là mình cũng gần như là mất thêm thời gian nữa, thế nên thôi không cần. Các bạn chỉ cần giới thiệu là bây giờ sẽ là lượt của teacher và mình sẽ căn rằng là cứ mỗi một bạn khoảng 2 phút đến 3 phút gì đó, thì mình sẽ ngắt lời bạn ý để cho bạn khác bạn được nói, thế thôi, nghĩa là mình chỉ mang tính chất tham minh ở chỗ đấy. Rồi xem nào, nhóm mode nhóm moderator ở phần summary. Ở phần summary thì nếu mà được thì nên chuẩn bị trước phần slide cho cái phần này, bởi vì là các bạn cũng có tương đối trước các cái argument rồi ấy. Thế thì ví dụ như là chúng ta có thể cho nghỉ 5 phút cuối thôi, lúc mà sau khi thảo luận xong ấy, hết cả forum rồi ấy, thì mình có thể cho nghỉ 5 phút thôi để mình sắp xếp lại cái slide đấy. Ví dụ như là mình chỉ cần di chuyển các cái nào mà không cần, hay là những cái nào đã được nói không được nói kiểu thế, hoặc là add thêm trong khoảng 5 phút thôi. Đấy, thì cô nghĩ là nó sẽ hợp lý hơn là các bạn chỉ nói không. Nhóm này được cái phần summary cũng khá là đầy đặn và có thêm hẳn cả một cái phần nữa là phần final feedback. Cái phần này thì thực ra cái final feedback là giáo viên feedback, nhưng mà thôi các bạn nói luôn thì cũng được, không sao. Nhưng mà cái này nó cũng tốt, bởi vì là nó cũng là một cái người ta gọi là trong giáo dục người ta gọi là peer feedback ấy, nó cũng là cái gọi là học từ các bạn ấy, thì cũng hay chứ không phải không. Nhưng người ta feedback nhưng mà tất cả participant ngồi chơi, không một ai ghi chép lại cái gì hết, bởi vì thực ra những cái gì các bạn note lại ở đây sẽ là những cái các bạn sẽ report lại vào trong cái phần reflection, forum reflection ở trong cái portfolio của các bạn. Đấy, đây cũng là cái để các bạn ý viết, gọi là đưa ý cho các bạn viết rồi đấy ạ. Đấy, thì các bạn lại ngồi không, chẳng ai nghe, chẳng ai viết gì cả, có mỗi mình cô viết. Đó, thì lưu ý một chút nhé, cái phần feedback đấy các bạn ý có feedback như thế chúng ta cũng lưu tâm luôn, chúng ta cũng viết lại luôn. Đó. Một cái nữa, điểm này buồn cười quá là đối với nhóm moderator đấy là gì ạ? Cái phần đầu tiên đấy là cái phần intro, là cái phần của các bạn nói là chính và các bạn đang là presenter, nhưng mà các bạn đứng lên che hết cả slide. Sắp xếp và cấu trúc là rất là không ổn nhá. Nghĩa là cái chỗ ngồi của mình như này thì ví dụ như là đến cái lượt của mình nói thì phải, hoặc là thế nào đấy mình phải di chuyển ra ngoài để đấy, chứ mình che hết cả slide rồi nên là có nhìn thấy gì slide nữa đâu. Đó. Rồi, thêm một cái nữa là lưu ý về một số các cái slide nó vẫn bị nhiều chữ quá, vẫn bị nhiều chữ và chữ bé quá, nên cho nên là chúng ta chỉ cần về cơ bản nhé, các bạn hình dung là slide nó giống như kiểu một dạng subtitle khi mà các bạn nói ấy. Đấy thì các bạn chỉ cần các cái phrase thôi, đưa lên các cái phrase và các cái hình ảnh liên tục. Nhiều khi là các bạn cho nhiều phrase và nhiều hình ảnh thì các bạn ở dưới các bạn lắng nghe, các bạn sẽ follow theo cái độ chuyển của các bạn ấy, thì nó vừa không bị gây mất, gọi là kiểu vừa để cho các bạn ấy keep track mà vừa giúp cho các bạn ấy không bị buồn ngủ. Bởi vì nếu ví dụ các bạn dừng ở một cái slide quá lâu, tức là những người ở dưới này người ta nghe người ta sẽ bị buồn ngủ, người ta không follow được hết. Đó, và một số các cái slide có thể kiểu cái technique của mình có thể là highlight những cái keyword lên, như là cái current situation ấy, mình có thể highlight các cái keyword trong những cái key những cái câu ấy lên thì có thể cho các bạn dễ catch cái idea hơn. Đó, rồi nên tránh sử dụng các cái note quá to hoặc là các cái note mà kiểu sử dụng trên laptop nhá. Cũng có một số bạn ở trong nhóm mốt vẫn đang sử dụng laptop để nói. Minh A nhá, lưu ý là khi đến lượt mình nói thì không nên chống nạnh khi nói. Cái này nó là body language. Ok, nó không được formal cho lắm. Ok, rồi còn những cái vấn đề liên quan đến kiểu phát âm một chút thì chắc là Trang Anh phải lưu ý thêm một chút nhé. Bởi vì tất cả các âm s nặng ấy thì đều rất là bị lỗi, nó hơi bị lỗi quá. Chứ còn nếu thực ra ai cũng có một chút về cái lỗi về pronunciation, nhưng mà nó hơi của em thì nó hơi systematic nhé. Đó. Rồi xong. Về các nhóm participant ngày hôm nay rất là tròn vai trong việc là các bạn chia đều cái lượt nói của các bạn cũng có những cái ý sáng và các bạn cũng có được cái độ chuẩn bị nhất định trong việc là đặt câu hỏi hay là respond. Tuy nhiên thì các bạn cần phải lưu ý thế này nhé. Có nghĩa là cái forum này là cái forum đầu tiên, cho nên là đã được cung cấp trước cho các bạn các cái argument rồi. Thế cho nên là các bạn cũng đã nhàn hơn một chút rồi. Tuy nhiên thì cũng hy vọng, mặc dù là nó là cái được cho trước, nhưng mà cô cũng hy vọng các bạn creative hơn như thế. Như kiểu là gì ạ? Chúng ta ví dụ bây giờ chúng ta cùng là nhóm 4 thì chúng mình hãy nên làm việc cùng với nhau để xem là có những cái ý nào bị trùng nhau không. Bởi vì rõ ràng là cùng là 4 ấy, nhiều khi là mặc dù là rõ ràng là hai vai khác biệt nhau, nhưng các bạn vẫn sẽ có những cái gọi là các cái argument nó sẽ bị repeat. Thậm chí là các bạn repeat giữa các nhóm với nhau, mà thậm chí kể cả trong teammate với các nhau mà các bạn còn repeat nhau nữa. Đó, cho nên là hãy kiểm soát lại cái phần argument nó tránh bị lặp. Đó. Rồi cái nữa là gì nhỉ? Đấy, tự nhiên nói xong rồi không nhớ. Giữa nhảy không nên bị lặp này. Cô thấy là một số nhóm cũng đã biết gọi là để dành những cái ý hay càng về phía sau, và một số nhóm cũng khá là ấn tượng với nhóm Psychologist với bộ 3 là Mai Phương, Hoàng và Hạnh Anh là những người nói cuối cùng của nhóm này, và các bạn ý đều đưa ra những cái idea nó khá là mạnh. Và nó thực sự là từ hướng của Psychologist. Một cái nữa, đúng rồi đấy, đây là chính là chỗ này. Các bạn lưu ý là khi mình được chọn role ấy, khi mình được phân role ấy, thì các bạn sẽ cần phải đóng vai từ cái phía đấy. Không phải là các bạn chỉ đi search trên Google rằng là bây giờ tôi phải nói cái gì với cả cái vị trí đấy. Không phải là cái idea nào mình cũng lấy được, không phải cái idea nào mình cũng lấy được. Rõ ràng là nó for và nó against, nhưng mà nó lại phải là cái vai đấy của mình. Ví dụ như là cái team teenagers với cả student này trời ơi, tất cả các cái idea đấy, hầu như tất cả các cái idea nó rất adult. Nó rất là người lớn. Trẻ con nó sẽ không hỏi được như thế. Hoặc là kiểu từ phía student nhẽ ra các em phải là những cái người mà kiểu phải cảm thấy bức xúc lắm ý, bởi vì tại sao tôi phải ấy như thế. Thì nhẽ ra các em phải là những cái người active nhất trong cái forum này ấy. Nhiều khi là sẽ là kiểu các em sẽ phải hỏi ngược lại giáo viên là chứ cứ bắt bọn em kiểu compulsory, thế bây giờ facility có không, có đảm bảo không, đấy nhẽ ra phải hỏi ngược lại cái hội teacher như thế thì không thấy được rõ cái role ấy, hiểu không? Không thấy được cái role đấy ở trong các em đó, bởi vì là các bạn đang diễn cái vai đấy nữa. Hay là nhóm psychologist thì ở nửa đầu ấy, cái round đầu ấy, thì nhóm psychologist các cái idea ấy, nó lại chưa đi sâu vào cái gọi là psychologist. Trong khi đấy 3 người sau thì nó rõ hẳn cái định hướng đấy hơn. Nhưng mà đoạn đầu thì không, đoạn đầu thì nó cũng khá là kiểu general thôi. kiểu nó cứ general thôi đấy, kiểu đấy đó. Rồi thì đấy là một cái mà cô nhấn mạnh là trong forum khi được phân vai thì các bạn cần phải suy nghĩ từ phía cái role của mình nữa, và mình gần như là cũng phải hơi diễn một chút về cái role đấy một chút. Đấy, hình dung không ạ? Chứ không phải là mình cứ tất cả các cái ý ở bên ngoài mình có cái gì mình cũng bắt hết vào. Đấy chính là lý do vì sao mà nó bị trùng các idea là vì như thế. Rồi, và thêm một cái nữa để cho mà chúng ta tốt hơn nữa, đấy là các nhóm mà cùng for thì mình sẽ cùng xem là các cái idea mình có bị trùng không, hay là các nhóm mà cùng là against thì mình work với nhau thêm một lần nữa xem là có bị trùng các cái idea không. Đó, thế thôi. Thế còn nhìn chung thì các bạn đã hình dung ra được cái cách làm như thế này là chuẩn rồi, cái hướng đi như thế này là chuẩn rồi. Ok, rồi, cảm ơn các bạn. Any more questions? No. Ok.